There is the question always that floats in the investor community. Can understanding the financial statements provide a mechanism where the company can be evaluated in an objective manner? For that, let's try to understand a few things that are getting driven in that direction. Normally, we see that the financial statements, whatever are prepared, whether it is the balance sheet or the income statement, any of the financial statements that are prepared, they are prepared purely based on the historical cost. Majority of the elements, as long as the company is following a gap kind of standards, not the IFRS. IFRS is slowly directing the companies towards going for fair value kind of a mechanism, but most of the times, which wherever the historical cost mechanism is there, financial statements that are prepared on that particular mechanism, one, they are easy to know what is the number, they are quick to prepare, easy to understand, so majority of the time they are prepared based on the historical cost basis itself. But this is the cost at which that particular product might have been acquired. So it need not be the most relevant kind of a basis for making the decision. Today, if I want to know what is the worth of the assets of the firm, what is the worth of the firm, I cannot typically look at the assets that are present on the balance sheet, because they may not be relevant for the decisions, because they are more prepared from a regulatory kind of a standpoint. So they might be more, it might be more and more of an undermining in majority of the cases if that number is being used for the valuation purpose. And we should also see that there is a trade-off that is purely between the reliability and the cost. While preparing the financial statement based on the historical cost is much cheaper, probably there could be a question regarding the reliability of it for the immediate decision taking kind of a purpose. But on the other side, if I am using a fair value kind of an approach, probably it could be expensive, because I need to get all my assets revalued at regular intervals of time. But it might be more and more relevant. So that is where some kind of trade-off between the cost and the relevance, something needs to be looked into picture. And one more thing, let's try to understand. Okay, the balance sheet, financial statements are all a reflection of the past performance of the firm. Okay, these are the numbers of the company in the past. Now, can someone guarantee to me that in the future also the company can perform in the same way? Past may be a better guide to assess the future, but it necessarily is not mandatory that the past would reflect the future performance of the firm. Now, from a perspective of valuation, it's not the past performance of the company that I require. If I am investing some X in a company today, the company has generated 20% profit in the last year. My question comes, so what? Unless it is going to generate the same 20% profit in the next year, I may not derive any kind of a benefit out of it. So, so any kind of valuation mechanism where I have to decide how much I need to invest in this particular firm, it has to be driven purely based on my estimate of the future performance of this particular firm. So majority of the time, the typical financial statement get prepared is based on so many subjective estimates. So where is the question of objectivity coming up when we are looking at the financial statement? The asset lives, the life of the asset, it's an estimated figure. There are various things. Probably you could look at the value of the inventory. It's an estimated figure. The debtors, it could be an estimated figure. So there are so many numbers which are purely the subjective estimates, which are the depreciation, it's an estimated figure. So what we are typically talking of is the financial statements typically are presented based on various assumptions and estimates. So, care has to be taken while using the financial statements for objective evaluation, and they can very much impact the profit numbers. The balance sheets, assets, and liabilities will get drastically impacted, and the financial statements in most of the cases the omit the internally generated goodwill. Only the externally acquired kind of a goodwill is being shown in the financial statement, but internally generated goodwill, the internally generated brand valuations, human capital values, with all these things typically don't get presented in the financial statements at all, which means whatever the value of the assets that I am talking of, the valuation is no more objective. To a large extent, this kind of a methodology will undermine the relevance of the valuation of the firm. So, whenever we are using an asset based kind of a valuation mechanism or purely using the financial statement numbers to typically value the firm, we have to really take care that these are the limitations that are associated with evaluating the firm objectively by directly picking the data from the financial statements alone.